Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Love Soul Connection podcast. Today, we are diving into a topic that's often surrounded by so much mystery, misconceptions, and unnecessary pressure. Your first time getting intimate with your partner. That's right, we are talking about the myths, expectations, and realities of first time intimacy, especially for young women. You've probably heard a lot of things like it's supposed to hurt or you'll just know what to do. Well, guess what? Those are just myths. There's no universal experience, and it's completely normal to feel a mix of excitement, fear, and even confusion. So let's break it down. I want this episode to feel like a heart to heart chat with a friend where we tackle these myths head on and share what young women should really know before their first time. By the end of this episode, I hope you'll walk away feeling more confident, informed, and ready to define what intimacy means for you. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a comment if something resonates with you, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Let's start with one of the most common myths. It is going to be very painful. This is something that so many young women hear, and it sets up a lot of fear and anxiety before they even begin to think about intimacy. But here's the truth, first time sex doesn't have to be painful. Sure, some women might feel discomfort due to lack of lubrication, tension, or if they are not properly aroused. But for many others, there's no pain at all. The key is to understand your body and take things slow. Pain shouldn't be a default expectation. Let me give you an example. I know someone who was really nervous because she had been told it's going to hurt, but it'll get better. So she went into her first experience already tense and scared, which made things worse. It wasn't until later, when she tried again with her partner, that she felt comfortable with, when she realized, hey, this doesn't hurt at all. The difference? This time she was relaxed, properly aroused, and mentally ready. So here's a tip. If you're worried about pain, focus on foreplay and take time to get comfortable. Talk to your partner about your fears. Use lubrication if needed, and only proceed when you feel fully ready. Your comfort matters. The second myth. Next up, the idea that you'll instantly know what to do. If only, right? This myth sets up unrealistic expectations that your first time will be like a movie scene. Everything will be smooth, effortless, and perfectly timed. In reality, it's more like, what now? It's okay to feel awkward, unsure, or even laugh at yourself. Remember, intimacy is not a performance, it's an experience. There's no script or timeline to follow. It's a learning process for both partners. Let me share a story. A friend told me that during her first time, they were both so focused on trying to do it right that they kept overthinking every move. Eventually, they just burst out laughing at how unnatural everything felt. They realized it was better to relax and just focus on being in the moment rather than trying to get it right. So instead of stressing about what you should be doing, focus on what feels good for you and your partner. Explore each other, communicate, and remember, it's okay to be a beginner. Ultimately, you're doing it for the first time, right? Another myth that we need to bust is the idea that it's all about physical pleasure. There's this expectation that sex should feel amazing right away. But here's the thing, your first time is often more emotional than physical. Many young women report feeling nervous, excited, or even a little disconnected, and that can overshadow any physical pleasure. For example, think of it like starting a new hobby. The first time you try it, you're probably more focused on figuring it out rather than enjoying it. But the more you practice, the more comfortable you get, and the more you start enjoying it. Sex is similar in that way. It's about getting to know yourself and your partner over time. So go into your first time without the pressure of needing to feel immense physical pleasure. Focus on building emotional intimacy and comfort. The physical pleasure will come when you're relaxed, connected, and truly ready. Now let's talk about the physical aspects of first time intimacy. Let's dive a bit deeper into what's happening physically during your first time. One big misconception is that losing your virginity is some sort of medical event that should feel a specific way. The reality is, your body will respond differently based on so many factors: your comfort level, lubrication, arousal, and even your mindset. When we talk about physical intimacy, arousal and lubrication play a huge role in how comfortable the experience is. If you're not fully aroused, your body might not produce enough natural lubrication, which can make penetration feel uncomfortable or even painful. That's why taking time for foreplay and building trust with your partner is crucial. It's about getting mentally and physically ready. I've spoken to a lot of women who shared that their first time wasn't the most pleasurable experience simply because there was a rush to get it over with. One woman mentioned how her partner didn't really take the time to check in on how she was feeling. She ended up feeling pressured to go faster, which led to pain and regret later. If she had just been able to pause and say, "Hey, I'm not ready yet. Can we do it slowly?" the experience could have been very different. So don't underestimate the power of foreplay. Kiss, touch, talk, and create a space where you feel completely comfortable. If it doesn't feel good, slow down or stop altogether. Remember, intimacy isn't a race to the finish line. Another thing to consider is the role of muscles in your pelvic area. If you're nervous, your pelvic muscles might tense up, which can make things feel tight or uncomfortable. This tension can be managed by deep breathing and consciously relaxing your body. It's completely natural to feel a bit of anxiety, so take your time. Here's a simple trick. Practice some deep breathing before intimacy to release tension in your body. Try inhaling deeply for 4 seconds, holding for 4, and then exhaling for 6 seconds. You'll be surprised at how much this can help you to relax your muscles. Now, I want to address a big issue: virginity and bleeding during your first time. Society has attached so much weight to these concepts, making them seem like proof of whether you're pure or not. But here's the truth: virginity is not a physical state, it's a concept that's been built over centuries and doesn't have any real basis in biology. Take the myth about bleeding as an example. People assume that a woman's first time should result in some bleeding, and if it doesn't, it's a sign that she's not a virgin. That is harmful and false. Some women bleed, others don't. It depends on whether the hymen has already stretched from activities like sports, dancing, or even yoga. And for some women, the hymen is so elastic that it never bleeds at all. So don't place too much pressure on yourself or your body to fit into these outdated notions of what is supposed to happen. Your first time is about your experience and your comfort. Nothing else matters. So forget about bleeding or hymens. Focus instead on how you feel, whether you're comfortable, relaxed, and truly ready. One of the most common misconceptions is that being ready for intimacy is only about emotional readiness or simply being in the mood. But arousal, both mental and physical, is crucial for making your first experience comfortable. When your body isn't fully aroused, penetration can feel uncomfortable or even painful, no matter how relaxed you think you are. So let's break down what readiness really means. Arousal isn't just about wanting intimacy. It's a physical response where your body prepares itself for sexual activity. For women, this means your body produces natural lubrication. Your muscles begin to relax, and the blood flow increases to your genital area, making the experience more comfortable. Think about the last time you rushed into something without warming up. Maybe it was a workout or even just a stretch. It felt uncomfortable, right? The same logic applies here. If you're not physically prepared, things can feel tight, and that's when discomfort or pain can occur. Before you even think about engaging with a partner, one of the best things you can do is understand your own body first. Self preparation isn't just about knowing what feels good, it's about building confidence and being able to communicate those preferences to your partner. Spend some time exploring your own body. Understand what kind of touch feels pleasurable and what doesn't. This way, when you're with your partner, you can guide them and ensure the experience is enjoyable for both of you. If you find that your body doesn't produce enough natural lubrication, there's absolutely no shame in using a lubricant. Lack of lubrication doesn't mean that you're not aroused or something is wrong. It's a completely normal occurrence. Using lubrication can significantly reduce friction, making the experience smoother and more comfortable for you. I once spoke with a young woman who felt guilty for wanting to use lube during her first time. She thought it meant she wasn't normal or wasn't attracted enough to her partner. But after learning that many women use lubrication, especially for the first time, she felt a lot more at ease and was able to enjoy the experience without any unnecessary discomfort. Remember that the goal is comfort and enjoyment, not pushing through discomfort because you feel pressured to perform a certain way. If you are considering your first time, invest in a good water based lubricant. Keep it on hand just in case you feel you need it. It can make a world of difference. I can't stress this enough that consent is everything. And consent is not just about saying yes or no before sex, it's about ongoing communication throughout. Just because you consent at the beginning doesn't mean that you can't change your mind later. Imagine you're with your partner and you start off feeling comfortable. But midway through, something feels off. You're not enjoying it or you're feeling some pain. It's okay to stop and speak up. You don't have to push through because you agreed earlier. Consent can be withdrawn at any point. So create a safe word or a signal with your partner that means, I need a break or I'm not okay right now. It makes the conversation easier if you're in the moment and feeling shy to verbalize your feelings. One of the biggest challenges around the concept of the first time is managing expectations. Movies, media, and sometimes even peer pressure build up this idea that your first time should be magical, flawless, and picture perfect. But let's face it, real life is rarely like that. From what we see in romantic movies to what we hear from friends, we are often fed this image of the perfect first time. Candles, soft music, and everything just perfect. But the reality is that the first time can be awkward, messy, and full of stops and starts. And that's okay. Putting pressure on yourself to have an amazing experience can actually take away from enjoying the moment. For example, think about a scene from a typical romantic movie where everything falls into place perfectly. Take The Notebook, for instance. Noah and Ali's first time is shown as this beautiful, seamless experience. But what they don't show are the nerves, the uncertainty, and the pauses that can and that do happen in real life. One way to reduce this pressure is by having an open conversation with your partner. Talk about your concerns, what you're nervous about, and what you hope for. Just saying, I'm a little nervous, can open the door for your partner to share their feelings too. And that vulnerability creates a safer, more relaxed space for intimacy. And here's something crucial: being emotionally ready is even more important than physical readiness. If you're feeling uncertain or pressured, that's a sign to take a step back. There's no timeline, and waiting is okay if it means that you will feel more comfortable. I spoke to a young woman who felt pressured because her partner kept bringing up how everyone else was already doing it. She eventually realized that just because others are doesn't mean that she should if she wasn't fully ready. When she communicated this, it was a huge relief for her, and her partner respected it. Most of the times, we don't speak up because we feel guilty or we feel that our partner will not accept what we are trying to say. But at least give it a shot, give it a try, and for all you know, you might be surprised that your partner will support you through this. Now that we've talked about the emotional and physical aspects of readiness, let's get into some practical tips to help make the experience smoother and more enjoyable for you. First up, focus on foreplay. Foreplay isn't just a warm up, it's essential for building comfort and intimacy. Whether it is kissing, touching, or just holding each other close, take your time to explore what feels good. It's not about jumping straight into penetration. Slow down, breathe, and use this time to relax. Think of foreplay as a main event rather than a means to an end. When you focus on foreplay, you are less likely to feel rushed, and it can help make the transition to more intimate activities smoother. The second thing, use lubrication. If you're nervous that your body might not produce as much natural lubrication as usual, which is totally normal, having a good water based lubricant on hand can reduce friction and can make the experience more comfortable. Here's a tip: don't wait until you need it. Start with a little lube right from the beginning. It's a game changer, especially if you're feeling tense. Third thing, communicate constantly with each other. Check in with each other often. A simple, does this feel okay? Or do you like this? Can make a huge difference in ensuring that both partners are comfortable. If something doesn't feel right, don't hesitate to speak up. I once heard a story where one partner didn't like a particular touch, but she didn't say anything because she didn't want to kill the mood. But staying silent only led to more discomfort. Being honest in the moment might feel awkward, but it is so much better than staying quiet and feeling uncomfortable. The next thing is really important. Choose the right time and place. Privacy, safety, and no rush. These are the key elements. Make sure you have a space where you won't be interrupted, where you feel safe and relaxed. The last thing you want is to feel rushed or worried about someone walking in. Consider turning off your phones, locking the door, and making sure that you have plenty of time. The less external stress you have, the more you can focus on each other. Finally, drop the idea of a perfect experience. So don't set expectations going in. Go in with an open mind. Whether it's a little awkward or not, it's still your experience to share together. Focus on enjoying the moment, not making it look like something out of a movie. I've spoken to so many couples who've laughed their way through their first time because things didn't go as planned. There was awkward fumbling, mismatched timing, and even a few oops moments. And guess what? That's what made it memorable. So don't let unrealistic expectations get in the way of creating your own unique moment. Know that intimacy is a journey. It's going to take its own time, and so savor every moment and build a memorable experience. To wrap it up, let's recap what we've covered today. First times are surrounded by so many myths, from needing it to be perfect to thinking that pain is just part of the deal. But the truth is, your first experience is just a step in the journey of exploring intimacy. It's not a defining moment that sets the tone for your entire sex life. Physical readiness, discussed practical tips for making the experience more comfortable, and most importantly, emphasized that intimacy is about mutual respect, trust, and understanding. So, whether it's your first time or the 100th, every experience will be unique. Believe me, the goal should always be to ensure that both partners feel respected, comfortable, and ready to explore together. So, if your first time wasn't what you expected, that's okay. There's no such thing as a perfect first time. And what truly matters is how you move forward, learning more about yourself and what you want. The best intimacy is rooted in self acceptance, trust, and mutual respect. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you found this episode helpful, I encourage you to share it with friends who might need to hear this. And don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on more conversations like these. Your first time is just the beginning. So embrace your journey and enjoy every moment. I will see you again next week with another episode. Till then, take care and be intimate.